and see how they can, assist these widows and the orphans to get along in this harsh economical condition in the country.
You've talked about some issues that you feel strongly need to be addressed. Now, as an expert, we want you to give us your suggestion on how the Nigerian armed forces can improve generally.
First and foremost, my appeal will go to the president, who happens to be one of us. There are several welfare issues that are still being looked into, and they are taking longer than we expect. Take, for instance, we know what the situations are now. And of course, in 2019 April, there was a review of minimum wage. And as I speak today, it has not yet been implemented, for the veterans to benefit. So it has taken like 21 months after the approval was given by Mr. President. And we go to the same market. And I keep saying it, that if there's one segment of the society that must not be taken for granted, it is this people, this set of people who stake their lives to make this country one united, indivisible entity. But unfortunately, as we have it today, we are still far from, paying these people what they actually, suffered for.
We thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much.
I've been speaking with Abiodun Herbert, a member of the retired Armed Forces, Nigerian Armed Forces, on the Nigerian Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Now, we're going to take a very short clip that has been packaged especially in honor of our fallen heroes.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet. For old lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend, that gives a hand to thine. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne?
We salute the courage and sacrifice of our fallen heroes. To other news now. ECOWAS Parliament has adopted the $398.04 million draft consolidated budget of ECOWAS presented to plenary by the Administration and Finance Department of ECOWAS Commission. The adoption follows deliberations and defense by institutions and departments of the ECOWAS Commission on NGA Fine Face reports.
Of the ECOWAS budget continued with debates centered on creating a balance between the contribution of member states and siting of projects, as well as the implementation of community levy.
There are countries which do not contribute and receive much more from the community. So sooner or later, the parliament and the community and all the institutions are going to have problems. They will be facing difficulties.
That every country, member nation should go back and ensure the community levy is collected as supposed to be done, or remitted. Remittance should be how things should be done.
I think that it is very important for every MP in his own country, for all projects that are initiated, that they be called to task to keep an eye on the project and report to the ECOWAS Parliament.
Secretary General of the Parliament, John Azuma, presented the draft resolution of the Plenary Committee on the Budget for adoption by the House.
Article 1 gives a favorable opinion on the adoption of the draft 2021 consolidated community budget balanced in revenue and then expenditure to a total amount of UA 398,044,626 units of accounts.
I thank the Secretary General, the Special Rapporteur, as well as all MPs for the work done, which enabled us to adopt the draft consolidated community budget for year 2021 in record time. Honorable members, the debate is closed. The draft resolution is hereby the plenary for adoption. Thank you very much. The draft resolution is adopted.
The resolution adopting the budget will be presented to the President of the ECOWAS Commission for onward transmission to the Chairman of Council. Onengiye Fine Face, NT News.
You're watching the news on NT International. Time now for a short break. More reports when we return.
Latest entrant, latest technology. Welcome to Entel 4G LTE Advanced and experience super fast internet access today. Visit entel.com.ng or any of our stores in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt to get started. Entel. Live more.
Thank you for joining us again. World leaders have resolved to work together to restore degraded lands, promote biological diversity, as well as create green jobs and build resilience of the Sahel and Saharan regions. These are parts of the commitment at the just concluded virtual Great Green Wall Summit in France, tagged One Planet Summit for Biodiversity. The virtual One Planet Summit brought together world leaders and partners, as well as leaders of international organizations, financial institutions, and NGOs to make commitments for concrete action to preserve and restore biodiversity and launch transformational initiatives for nature in the region. It was also an opportunity to raise the level of ambition of the international community in protecting nature while responding to the new questions raised by the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as collectively mobilize resources to build and improve livelihoods in the Sahel through the Great Green Wall Initiative. The Great Green Wall is an African-led movement launched in 2007 by leaders from the Sahelian countries to harness the power of nature and provide policy solutions to multiple and complex environmental threats in the region. I'm now being joined via Zoom by Ibrahim Tho, the United Nations Under-Secretary General on the Certification and Executive Secretary of United Nations Convention to combat desertification. You're welcome to the studios of NT International.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what is the Great Green Wall?
Well, it is this vision from Africa that the Sahel region, which is a dry region, should not be suffering too much from land degradation and from biodiversity loss. So 11 countries have come together under the leadership of the heads of states to join forces from the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea to combat desertification, to improve livelihoods of their people, and to build resilience for resistance to drought and climate change.
Now, the Great Green Wall is an African initiative. Now, should the world care about this Green Wall, and why is it so important?
It is important because the primary sector, agriculture, livestock, fisheries, is the first source of income in all these countries. So when the land degrades, as the population grows, you will see more and more conflicts over access to land and water. You will see more risks of irregular migration, and you will see more risks of also insecurity in that region. So it is very important to build the resilience of these communities as much as the resilience of the ecosystems. So the Great Green Wall is not only about trees. It is really about the economy. It is about the livelihoods. It is about the youth, millions of people. It is about women empowerment that are basically leading now their families. So it is extremely important to recognize that 470 million people live in these 11 countries. That population will grow to 1.6 billion people by the end of the century. So it is important to have a longer-term vision so as to avoid more conflicts and more insecurity in that region.
Now, how is Africa going to benefit from this, especially Nigeria?
Nigeria is actually one of the founding fathers. I mean, President Obasanjo was of the founding fathers of the initiative. Nigeria is probably one of the countries which has the longest stretch for the Green Wall. From the Kebbi state to Borno state, 11 states in Nigeria over a distance of 1,300 kilometers are concerned by this program. So it is also one of the regions which basically has the largest population, one of the countries that has the largest population in Africa. So therefore it is important that the youth of these countries, that the women of these countries build their resilience. You mentioned the president of the African Development Bank, Adesina, who was participating to this conference, and the African Development Bank is one of the major players, especially with the provision of energy to these communities. The World Bank, the IFAD, and many other players are contributing to this. Now, why is energy important? Because with energy, you can conserve food. There's a lot of post-harvest loss in the Sahel at the moment. With energy, you can process your food. You can create jobs, value chains. You can improve the economy of that region. The region has a lot of sun. So it is therefore important to harness that sun and to make it a valuable contribution to the transformation of the economy of that region. So whatever you have as vegetables, fruits, milk, fish, meat needs to be conserved. So instead of the sun destroying that food, you can actually harness that sun to conserve it and to transform that, to process it, and to create the additional value chain that is necessary for the youth to stay home and to have a more vibrant economy. It is also important to note that the Great Green Wall is also about agriculture. It is also about livestock. Livestock is very important in the Sahel. So it is a region that has a lot of sun, a lot of land, which actually has a lot of water, underground water, which is not accessible at the moment because of the lack of energy. So with energy, you can really improve that situation.
We thank you very much for those insights, Mr. Ibrahim.
Thank you very much.
That was the Under-Secretary of the United Nations speaking on the Great Green Wall. We'll move on to health matters now. The National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, says it has not received any application from any COVID-19 vaccine manufacturer, and no vaccines have been approved by the Commission. Director General NAFDAC, Professor Mojishola Adeyeye, said this at a virtual emergency conference. Haman Jabani has the story.
With the approval of some COVID-19 vaccines, There are indications that fake COVID-19 vaccines are already in circulation around the world, Nigeria inclusive. It is in light of this that the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is asking government establishments and agencies not to order COVID-19 vaccine without confirmation from NAFDAC. The agency says it is discussing with manufacturers of candidate COVID-19 vaccine concerning potential emergency use authorization, registration or licensing of their product as the case may be, while assuring applicants that if phase 3 clinical data are convincing and robust with regards to safety and efficacy and the vaccines has been submitted for WHO emergency use listing, NAFDAC will welcome the application for emergency use authorization in Nigeria.
Despite the use of reliance for the emergency use authorization, NAFDAC will note clinical peculiarities in form of serious or adverse events following immunization in the dossier that we are reviewing or in the application. This is to serve as a guide and caution for what to look for in each subject after immunization, i.e., during the active pharmacovigilance phase.
The agency says it is collaborating with sister agencies and partners, plans to use traceability with GS1 technology and monitor vaccine distribution while assuring Nigerians that any dossier will be evaluated before being used in Nigeria despite WHO's approval. Hanman Jabani, NTA News.
The U.S. President-elect Joe Biden unveils $1.9 trillion coronavirus stimulus package just as North Korea parades a new missile described as the world's most powerful weapon. Joyce Ometu brings us details of these and more on Global Scene.
U.S. President-elect Joe Biden has unveiled a $1.9 trillion stimulus plan for the coronavirus-sapped economy before he enters office next week.
Tonight, I'll lay out my first step, the American Rescue Plan, that will tackle the pandemic and get direct financial assistance and relief to Americans who need it the most. That means that 18 million Americans currently relying on unemployment benefits, while they look for work, can count on these checks continuing to be there.
Now, in a recent development, Pfizer says it will temporarily reduce COVID-19 vaccine deliveries to Europe while it upgrades its production capacity. The reduction in deliveries is reportedly due to Pfizer limiting output so that it can upgrade production capacity to 2 billion vaccine doses per year. In the meantime, global positive cases have reached 93 million, with total death toll surpassing 2 million. Nigeria now accounts for 105,478 confirmed cases, having recorded 1,479 new cases Thursday. Away from the pandemic, early voting results released Friday by Uganda's Electoral Commission indicates that President Yoweri Museveni took an early lead in the presidential election, but his main rival, Bobi Wine, alleges election fraud. More than 29% of the votes from Thursday's ballot have been counted, and Museveni is in the lead with 61% of the total votes counted. In a show of military strength, North Korea has unveiled a new type of submarine-launched ballistic missile, described as the world's most powerful weapon. The missiles were displayed at a parade supervised by leader Kim Jong-un, ending more than a week of political meetings where Mr. Kim decried the U.S. as his country's biggest enemy. Meanwhile, the Dutch government has resigned amid an escalating scandal over child benefits in which more than 20,000 families were wrongfully accused of fraud by the tax authority. And that's where this segment ends. I am Joyce Ometu.
And Global Scene also brings us to the end of the news at this time on NTA International. Remember to always connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. Be a star. I'm Lami Ali.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
I am Elizabeth Abai. I am here to talk about facts. There is so much misinformation and distortion out there, especially on the social media. All it takes is just a click and the fake news goes viral. However, here in NTA, we deal with facts.
My job is to go out there and comb for factual news and information, just the way it is, all in the interest of the nation. I'm Naja Atutijani.
Here on the NCA, we present only the facts, verified. Beware of fake news, don't be a victim. Stay tuned to the NCA.
Especially at this time of the coronavirus pandemic.
My name is Nnamdi Ojipo.
Tradition is expressed in arts and crafts, folklore and religion, clothing, cuisine, music, and language. African literature, therefore, strives to adopt innovative and multi-layered perspective on orality or indigenous manifestations in contemporary literary pieces. This is African literature on the NTA, Africa's largest television network. Nene Basi is my name, and it's my joy to welcome you into a brand new year. This edition takes a look at the influence of African tradition on our contemporary literature.
Themes in contemporary African literature are influenced frequently by religion, the struggle between tradition and modernity, rural and urban settlements, gender, and generation issues, among others. Most successful early African writers knew what could be done with the oral tradition. They understood its structures and that images could be transposed to literary mode. Writers in Africa today, therefore, owe much to African tradition. Denja Abdullahi, in his Death and the King's Grey Hair, draws the Jukun oral tradition.
I think, and it has been established, that African literature, written literature, began with the foundation built on our African tradition, our cultures, because our first generation writers, they did a lot of looking back when they started speaking their various voices to the wider world. What they had as reservoir for what they did then was our culture and tradition. The first generation Nigerian writers burrowed deep into African culture and traditions to write whatever they wrote in those early periods, because they were largely responding to the West that thought that at that time that Africa had no civilization, Africa had no ordered way of living their lives. So they had to go back into the African tradition to now use myth, use stories, legends, and the linguistic heritage of Africa in their write-up. And that was, in a way, groundbreaking. Because when you write in any part of the world, when you talk of literature, what creates difference is just the tradition behind what you have written. Every part of the world have their traditions, and when you now see it in a language, in a common language, definitely you see a different story from different parts of the world. And it is only culture and tradition that can account for the difference you see when you read literary text. That particular text, Death and the King's Grey Hair, just used a myth, an African myth, we can call it a Nigerian myth, located particularly among the Jukun ethnic group in the northern Nigeria. We can call it northeast Nigeria. You know, I remember vividly that I came into contact with that myth in a class that, in my undergraduate class that dealt with African traditional societies. You know, we have been taught by the lecturer on African traditional society in sociology, in the class of sociology. I did literature, but I took electives in sociology, political science, theater, and the rest of them. Now, when the lecturer now mentioned that in those pre-colonial times, way back, in a society, in the Jukun society, there is a practice where they don't allow their sovereign to age on a throne. Once they notice their king growing grey hair, they tell him to abdicate. So it's like they will just tell him that it is time to abdicate so that they can have another king. He didn't tell us why they did that, or I cannot remember what was the reason behind that kind of queer tradition, if I put it that way. So that was where, it was that thought that I just picked. And I felt, and I started interrogating myself. I didn't read anything further about that society. I just said, let me see if I can use this myth in a play. So I used that myth to construct a play that deals with that, a society that believes that a king must not age on the throne. And there used to be a ritual of checks. They check, in that same tradition, they check yearly, or they check, and they do check the king's hair. And once they notice just a strand of white hair, they tell the king to abdicate. So I use that to just construct a play that has to deal with power, that has to deal with checks and balances, that has to deal with tyranny.
Themes highlighted in the play include power, checks and balances, sovereign will resting with the people, role of women, elders, and different components of the society, and more.
Central theme in that play is about power, but there are other themes of, as the writer of the play, there may be things that I may not even see, that other people that are reading or watching will see.
As a poet, Denja's exotic and elevated poetic prowess are evident in his choice of words in the play to accommodate the classes of people represented.
I put into it some of my poetic sensibilities. I ensured that the lines were lines that will resonate with poetry. So that is why the language of the play is still what has sustained the play to today. That play was written almost about 26, 27, 28. It was written in 1994, many years back. So, and it has survived to today in terms of relevance to society today. And part of that survival has been ensured by the language that I used. And while I was writing that play, I know I've read Death and the King's Horseman by Wole Soyinka. Not that I really had that particular play at the back of my mind when I was writing mine, but what I could remember that I projected into my play was that, look, I want the language of that play that play that I was writing then to be as sustained and heightened as that one in the Death of the King's Horseman. Because, you know, in the play, there's a poet in the play. The poet was like the major character that was opposing tyranny in the play. And because somebody, a poet of the African tradition as at then, the language will not just be ordinary. It has to be infused with a lot of style, of grace, gracefulness of speaking of an African itinerant poet.
The play, in terms of style, has an elevated style due to the themes discussed.
Well, you know, sometimes when you do those kind of things, when you write, you don't try your story, your subject governs the form. Yet in stylistics, they say there's a content determines the form. You see, and that is a part of stylistic thought. If your content is, you have taken your theme to be such an elevated one, talking about power narratives, power narratives, epic in proportion, you try to use a language that conforms to it. And in that, you adopt a style that will fit the thing you are trying to express, the message you are trying to express. That play was not a comedy, or that play is not a comedy. It can be situated in the tragic mood, because at the end of the day, a lot of, there are characters that fell, there was tragedy here and there. So in that kind of play, the style that it was not consciously was chosen to conform to the theme of the play.
The choice of characters in the play is symbolic and chosen to tie the themes discussed.
How did you choose your...
Well, in terms of characterization, of course, the major characters in that play are not too many. Of course, the king, the focus, the symbol of authority, who was elected, who was appointed by the people, and who had some codes that were given to him on being elected, on being appointed as king, that he was supposed to conform to, but who later subverted those codes because of enjoyment of the power of a king. In that, well, the characterization has to also, when you talk of power, definitely you need a central authority. Then you have the society with the checks in the wise men, who are about 7. Then you have the court poet, and you have the poet that is for the people, that is the general, like a conscience of the people. Those, and we have some other minor characters. I think those characters were just selected to be mouthpiece of the various themes in the play.
Death and the King's Grey Hair has received several recognitions, interpretations, and awards.
And again, to show you that the play has succeeded effectively, it has been well received. This same play was entered for Nigerian liquefied natural gas Nigerian Prize for Literature. They call it Nigerian Prize for Literature. It is awarded every year, and it is seen as the epitome of excellence for any text that gets that prize. I entered it for the prize in 2018, when the focus was on plays. You know, they focus differently on genres every year. And out of the whole lot of plays that were submitted that year by very renowned playwrights all over the place, some of my contemporaries, it was first longlisted as the best 11 out of the whole lot of plays shortlisted. Then later, it was shortlisted the best 3. Everybody expected, who had registered, who has watched the performance, expected my play to clinch the top prize. But well, the judges knew what they were looking for. So I narrowly missed being awarded that prize in 2018. So what other indication of success? And beyond that, before then, in 2015, this play was entered for the Society of Nigerian Theatre Artists prize, which was what they call Sonta Chris Iyimoga Master Playwright Prize. Master Playwright. Watch it. This Society for Nigerian Theatre Artists is made up of teachers, professors of theatre art in Nigerian universities. And this play won the first prize.
Denja Abdullahi has indeed drawn from a segment of our rich culture and tradition to construct a masterpiece in his play, That and the King's Grey Hair. Art's composition is next.
That and the King's Grey Hair, a play by a Nigerian poet, playwright, dramatist, literary essayist, and culture technocrat. Denja Abdullahi examines the use and misuse of absolute power based on an ancient Jokun myth of young kings and short reigns. Denja Abdullahi is born on 27th of August 1969 at Ida. He hails from Abuja in Lokoja local government area of Kogi State, Nigeria. Had his primary education at St. Barnabas School, Ilorin, Kwara State, and his secondary school at Government Secondary School, Ilorin. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in English and Literature at the University of Jos, Nigeria, where he graduated as the best student of 1996. Holds a master's degree in Literature and English, University of Ilorin. Worked as a lecturer at the Waziri Umari Federal Polytechnic, Birnin Kebbi, Kebbi State. He floated a performing troupe called Tashimana Theatre Troupe while in Kebbi State, and rose to a senior lecturer before transferring his service to the National Council for Arts and Culture, Abuja, in 1998, where he has risen in the Performing Arts Department to become a director, currently heading the Bauchi Zonal Directorate of the organization. Denja Abdullahi has held several executive council positions in the Association of Nigerian Authors, ANA. He was the founding chairman of the Kebbi State chapter of ANA from 1993 to 1998. Held several positions at the Abuja branch at various times. Assistant General Secretary 2003-2005, General Secretary 2005-2009, Vice President 2011 to 2015, and was elected as president of the association at the 34th Annual International Convention held in Kaduna in 2015. He was re-elected for a second and final term of 2 years at the 36th International Convention of the association held in Makurdi, Benue State, Nigeria in October 2017. As president of ANA in 2015, he brought greater visibility to the organization with resourceful and impactful programs and projects across the country until his exit as president of the association on the 2nd of November 2019. He is arguably the only member of ANA who has served an unbroken span of 26 years, and this earns him the title, the Chief of Servants of Nigerian Writers. In 2015, Denja's play, That and the King's Grey Hair, won the Sonta Chris Iyimoga Masters Playwright Prize. Same play in 2018 was shortlisted for 2018 Nigerian Prize for Literature administered by the Nigeria NLNG. His works include Meirogo, The Talking Drum, Abuja Noyi, 1,000 Years of Thirst, Harsh Poems, Themes Fall Apart, but the Center Holds. A book he co-edited in 2009 in commemoration of 50 years anniversary of Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. The Road to Bauchi and Other Poems, published in August 2019, is his latest creative output. Denja Abdullahi has attended international and national literary festivals, conferences, and a UNESCO-certified expert and facilitator on intangible cultural heritage of humanity.
does a writer convey his viewpoint on a particular subject? Let's find out.
Tone owes its origin to several ancient civilizations, but Latin, French, and Greek are the acknowledged foremost origin of the word. In Latin, tone is referred to tonus. In French, tone, and in Old French and Latin, tone is peculiar to musical. In Greek, it is known as tonus, which is related to vocal pitch raising of voice in accent. It's mostly a style in speaking or writing which reveals attitude. Tone is the voice or attitude towards the subject of the passage, and it's often directly related to the purpose. It is generally conveyed through the choice of words of the viewpoint of a writer on a peculiar subject. Often, an author's tone is described by attitudes such as cynical, depressed, sympathetic, cheerful, sarcastic, intense, excited. Tone includes theme, mood, plot, style, and more. Understanding the tone of a literary work helps one to become a better reader. Literary works possesses different types of tone, as any emotion felt by human can be categorized into a form of tone in literature. Tone falls within the two major types, positive and negative tone. Positive tone, under this you get energetic, enthusiastic, humorous, illuminating, light-hearted, nostalgic, optimistic, respectful, and many more. Negative tone. This includes dark, gloomy, pedantic, pessimistic, pompous, strident, tense attitude in writing or speaking, and more. Some examples of tone include cautious, humorous, affectionate, hostile, violent, solemn, sarcastic, pleading, indifferent. The list is endless. Tone in literature is key, as it's critical to the writer and the reader in many ways. Tone aids the reader into the essence and purpose of what they are reading. It is also an important way for writers to shape the reader's thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Writers often make use of tone to demonstrate their attitude towards views about the subject matter. Tone, among all, stimulates the reader to read a piece of literature either as a serious, comic, or spectacular piece.
Tone in literature is very fundamental, as it helps the writer express his thoughts and drives home the message to the reader. Our wise saying will be brought to you now as we wrap up this edition. Please keep staying safe and have a great year. Bye.
People say water is life. If so, then good water means good life. Introducing OUI ozonized water, approved by NAFDAC and packaged using the latest water packaging equipment in a clean and hygienic environment by well-qualified personnel. At OUI Water Factory, we also cater for customization of packaged table water for different occasions at the shortest of notice, and our vehicles are available to take your order to your preferred location at no extra cost. Visit us today at our factory at Oduduwa University Main Campus, Ife Ibadan Expressway, roundabout Ikpetumodu, PM 5533, Ile-Ife, Osun State. Telephone number 0803 706 6476 or 0807 662 3333 and 0814 627 3869. OUI ozonized water, good water, good life.
Lecturer to please step up on stage. Dr. Mrs. Abdullahi. Please can we put hands together for ladies and gentlemen, please can we put hands together for Madam once again. Profile of Dr. Mrs. Abdullahi Adeyemi, born into a royal family on the 1st of March in the early 80s. Dr. Mrs. Rashida Abdullahi Adeyemi, a seasoned administrator, disciplinarian, and an exemplary woman of flawless reputation, could best be described as a unique personality of worthy emulation by many Nigerians. She's a great builder of worthy characters premised on incredible ideals of morality, propriety, devoutness, integrity, accountability, diligence, and inspiration in our service to humanity.
Governor of the State of Osun, Your Excellency, Deputy Governor of the State of Osun, ably represented by Honorable Yinka Omiyale, government officials here present, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to identify with this gathering on the occasion of the 5th edition of Osun Youth Ambassadors Award. It is noteworthy that the organizer and convener of this event are a beacon of hope and a pride to the state of Osun for their ever progressive efforts to celebrate excellence among the youth. No doubt, Nigerian youth have faced with the toughest challenges anywhere in the world, like unemployment, insecurity, leadership deficiency, police brutality, injustice, political and economic sabotage, lack of empowerment. The list is endless. These are facts we should not shy away from if we truly want a proper solution to the Nigerian problem. The way forward is for political class to be sincere in tackling the problem by supporting small and medium enterprise because they are the bedrock of any economy. Little income generated daily sales by this set of people is what creates cash flow and value change that help the society and the government to survive hard times. Youth empowerment scheme across board should be aggressively implemented to allow conducive environment for the youth to thrive and salvage the economy from total collapse.
Welcome. This is Bon Appetit, a culinary adventure. All of them are quite different and unique, especially when it comes to native foods and cultural delicacies. Their food mainly depends on the ingredients that are produced in that particular area.
So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the You Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Sorry, I'm late.
Recap. We'll be having our meetings online henceforth to ensure social distancing. And remember to always wear a face mask when you go out.
Practice
social distancing.
And have your alcohol-based hand sanitizer with you. Wash your hand with soap when you come back from an outing.
Dispose your face mask properly, and if you have a reusable face mask, wash it frequently.
Clean frequently used items and touched surfaces with disinfectants.
When you cough or sneeze, make sure say you drum inside your elbow, or you use disposable tissue. But if you dey cough or you dey sneeze, or you get fever and you still no fit breathe well, make you call the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC.
Together we can fight COVID-19. Take responsibility, stay safe.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest asset the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth Entrepreneurship Support Years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Life can be very eventful. We curiously expect things to happen, even when we don't know what. Our human nature makes us like and repost lots of information. Some are unverified, inciting anger and hate. Sometimes innocently, other times the urge to break it first. This, in most cases, has caused destruction in many nations.
After dropping 2
points from a winning position last week, Wolverhampton Wanderers will be excited to welcome struggling West Bromwich Albion to the Molineux Stadium. Will West Brom prove an easy 3 points? Find out as Wolverhampton Wanderers take on West Bromwich Albion on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 1 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
The Comptroller General of Nigeria Immigration Service, Mohammed Babandede, MFR, took over the mantle of leadership of the NIS on Thursday, the 19th May 2016, as the 16th Comptroller General and Chief Executive Officer of the service. Propositions and strategy planning became imperative in order to reposition the NIS for the needed reform in conformity with the change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari. Today on Immigration Half Hour, we will be looking at the scorecard of the NIS since the Comptroller General Mohammed Babandede, MFR, assumed leadership of the service. Thank you for joining us once more. I am Victoria Omari Obeka. Welcome. The NIS understands the criticality of effective and efficient visa reforms efforts in modern border security and migration management. Hence, it has embarked on far-reaching visa reform regimes to not only attract the much-needed foreign direct investments, FDIs, but also ensure that only proper and fit visitors are allowed into the country, especially against the backdrop of the current security challenges in the country. In pursuit of his vision for the service, anchored on building a modern, effective, and efficient immigration service manned by well-trained and motivated workforce for enhanced national security and prosperity. The CGI caused a strategic management retreat to be held in the ancient city of Kano. The essence was to chart a new course for excellent service delivery and high-level professionalism by officers and men of the service to the satisfaction of Nigerians and other stakeholders, in line with the federal government's drive to make Nigeria a preferred destination for business and friendly for tourists and visitors. The outcome of the retreat culminated into the strategic roadmap 2016 to 2019, outlining the aspirations of NIS, providing detailed strategies and implementation plan, which the service has been committed to achieve. The various strides taken in the direction of change, reform, and transformation of NIS from May 2016 are: the service carried out a re-screening exercise for the controversial 2,000 recruits of 15th March 2014, during which some youths reportedly died in some locations where the recruitment exercise was held. At the end of the re-screening exercise, 888 of them were absorbed, an exercise which was done in the fairest and transparent manner and in the full glare of the media. The CGI developed a posting policy that ensured that postings and redeployments are done in a fair and equitable manner. Others include presentation of the Service Operational Handbook and the new dress code of the service, redesigning of the service website and the uploading of all charges and fees for immigration facilities. A contact center was established at the service headquarters, aimed at enhancing public interface with the service for effective feedback and robust service delivery. Number of residence cards issuing centers increased from 8 to 28, plus brand new official double cabin Hilux vehicles for each centers. The Nigeria Immigration Service Cooperative Society moved to its official complex. By the period ending 16th December 2016, the Nigeria Immigration Service was rated top-performing agency in Nigeria across all reforms area on the ease of doing business. Since assumption of office, CGI Mohammed Babandede, MFR, has made it a point of duty to build and commission at least 2 command office complexes every year. In 2017, NIS command complexes at Kano and Jigawa states respectively were commissioned, while in December 2018, command complexes of Plateau and Abia states were as well commissioned. In 2019, Akwa Ibom, Zamfara, and Adamawa state command complexes were also commissioned. In 2020, despite some hitches due to the COVID-19 outbreak and NSAS protests, Quarry and Oyo State's command office complexes were virtually commissioned. Currently, construction works of similar office complexes are ongoing in other locations across the country. Many divisional offices are also being constructed across the country. Residential and office buildings are being constructed at control posts in border communities and flanks. Massive renovation works are as well being carried out at all NIS training institutions. In a bid to improve the quality of the passport and to ease the processes in line with the ease of doing business agenda of the government, a passport application data processing center was commissioned at the service headquarters, which is being replicated in all passport offices nationwide. Construction of state-of-the-art auditorium at the service headquarters and the Command and Staff College, Sokoto. Construction of access roads, construction of new central store, construction of main entrance gate and pavilion at the service headquarters, as well as construction of transit camps at border areas and designated formations. Construction of technology building at the service headquarters. The building, once operational, will bring together all the data used by the Nigeria Immigration Service under one roof and will be made available to all stakeholders. Currently, massive infrastructural development is being executed across the country by the NIS. The leadership of Mohammed Babandede, MFR, of the NIS, established an Interpol I-24/7 equipped with online real-time facility for immediate responses in respect to wanted persons, stolen and lost travel documents, SLTD, local and transnational organized crimes. The service recorded an unprecedented breakthrough in the automation and integration of this system by successfully uploading 150,000 stolen and lost travel documents records in Interpol database, making Nigeria the first ranking in Africa and 54th in the world, according to Interpol Police Global System IPSG ranking. Nigeria today is the leading first and only African country to have fully automated its stolen and lost travel documents database. The Nigeria Immigration Service officially presented the NIS National Border Management Strategy 2019 to 2023 in Abuja on the 20th of September 2019. NIS clearance procedures at major entry points including land and sea received massive automation. The nation's international airports, land borders and seaports have been equipped with Border Management and Information System BMIS. Migration Information and Data Analysis System MIDAS has been installed at 5 major international airports and other strategic ports of entry to improve national border management. The acquisition and installation of a border sensor and surveillance technology at the headquarters. With this technology, the NIS is now able to monitor all movements and activities across connected border posts in the country. The NIS has also established forward operational border patrol bases at border flanks across the country. On the 9th of March 2017, the Comptroller General enabled the launch and presentation of the harmonized arrival and departure cards, replacing the multiple forms that passengers were hitherto compelled to complete as part of airport clearance. He also established the Rapid Response Squad, RRS, in NIS. The service has also become more committed and responsive in the fight against insurgency. More Hilux double-cabin vehicles were presented to the Nigeria Immigration Component attached to the Joint Task Force in Maiduguri to further ease the movement of personnel in the line of battle. On capacity building for the workforce, CGI Babandede has a high premium for a well-trained and motivated workforce. He has always been quoted as saying, "The best of machines and automation in the hands of untrained or poorly motivated workforce is a disaster to the workplace." The NIS achieved a complete review of the curricula of the 4 training institutions in line with Mother Border Security and Migration Management processes and procedures. This was the first time the NIS was producing a training curriculum and a manual since an Act of Parliament established it in 1963. Organizing corporate leadership trainings for NIS senior officers of managerial level, hostmanship training, the art of making people feel welcome, is a special training program jointly organized by the NIS and the Netherlands government. There were great collaborations among the governments of Switzerland, the Netherlands, GIZ and IOM, which delivered beautiful personnel training resource centers across the country on modern migration management.
A major migration reform is the e-migrant registration that was approved by the federal government for the registration of all non-Nigerians who are staying for more than 90 days, to register them in order to keep a record of their stay as either residents or visitors. A total of 263,219 migrants have been successfully registered by the service between 12th July 2019 and 31st December 2020.
In September 2017, the NIS launched a new visa regime. This regime consists of an automated visa processing system known as the Visa Case Management System and the Biometric Enrollment System. Consequently, the service launched a web-based visa on arrival platform on the 13th of May 2019. With the new regime, prospective applicants are required to log on to www.immigration.gov.ng to apply for the facility, make payment, and receive approval in real time. The Nigeria Visa Policy NVP 2020 was successfully launched by President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday, the 4th of February 2020. It is a comprehensive policy document fashioned for advancing the country's specific interest of attracting investment and promoting national security.
One of our major jobs is control of entry and exit of persons into Nigeria. So any person, including citizens of Nigeria, who wants to depart from Nigeria must present himself or herself to immigration officer. So we are the one to allow departure and of any person living in Nigeria. And it's our duty also to control the entry of persons coming to Nigeria, including citizens of Nigeria. If you are a citizen of Nigeria, we cannot refuse you entry, but you must appear before us. Even if an aircraft arrives in a place other than a recognized post, it is a duty of that person to report to an immigration officer nearest to him. So this is our mandate in terms of entry and exit of person into our territory.
At each point, the regime liberalizes formalities for potential visitors to Nigeria, ensuring their admissibility is not detrimental to the overall national interest.
Remember, many years ago, even people in Benin need a visa to enter Nigeria. But we cancelled the visas in ECOWAS. We said no visa. They don't need a visa, they just enter. When we see them at the airport, or then we give them 90 days. So for Africans, Mr. President has demonstrated a commitment because he signed the African Free Trade Area Agreement. This agreement, he put it forward to the public. People who are complaining globally, oh, Nigeria is not signing. What he did was to follow a democratic process. He gave it to the public to make comment. Businessmen, investors, manufacturer association of Nigeria, trade, they discussed this matter and they said it's good for Nigeria. Nigeria signed. But I told you, there is a relation between trade and human mobility. So one good advantage is that it is looking at the common economic area of Africa and making movement easier. So Mr. President said, all Africans, you don't need to get the free approval. Like the other Europeans. The other non-Africans, they will apply on our website, www.immigration.gov.ng, request for visa on arrival at the port. It will be given to them online. They will print their document, come to the airport, but Africans can pick their bag and carry the visa at the point of entry. So this one has to do not only with businessmen who are investing, but Africans who are one. We are trying to make Africa more attractive. And let me tell you, Africans are coming to Nigeria for many reasons. There are some churches, if I give you an example, who come to get blessing in Nigeria, to get blessing of some of our pastors. We are ready. They will come quickly. So we have a lot of blessing to give them. So it's a small pilgrimage for Nigeria. It keeps the African unity in one. It strengthens economic diversification in Africa. And we're doing it without security threat. That's what I want people to know. The idea is that Mr. President said, allow Africans to come and take a visa at the point of entry without compromising national security. He gave this directive to us almost last year in May. It is only now we are ready that we said people can come. There is no compromise on national security.
Thank you very much for enlightening us.
Thank you.
Now to our next question, sir. What are the benefits to Nigeria and Africa in general?
Visa on arrival is a liberalization process. It will give opportunity for people to visit this country as much. Look, we don't need to depend on oil to live. There are countries in Africa whose income is from tourism. So one of the areas we are liberalizing in visa on arrival is tourism. We are giving opportunity for tourists to come. We are going to roll it out. I think Mr. President will explain better. We are going to roll out visa for tourism for people to come visit and see our country. But we are not saying just come, pick your bucket. We walk through tourist organization where they will book accommodation for you, hotel. They can facilitate your movement. You can come in group. Look, if we do this properly, you can see an aircraft full of Chinese, and there is tour of operators who will take them around to see many. There are many things to see in Nigeria. So this is excellent opportunity for Nigeria to benefit from tourism. So a lot of money will come. There will be drivers to drive buses. Hotels will get accommodation. These people will sell art craft. So it's great benefit to Nigeria. Some Nigerian airlines will get passengers. Even non-Nigerian airlines will pay tax for bringing passengers to Nigeria. So Nigeria will benefit. Nigerians will get people who will visit them. I give you an example. There is this advantage which we want to show visa arrival for Nigerian citizens who have become citizens of a country where they cannot keep their Nigerian citizenship. I can give you an example. If you are a Nigerian, you become a German, or you become a Japanese, or you become a Chinese, or you become a member of Indian national, you cannot keep your Nigerian citizenship. You have to renounce it. But when you renounce your citizenship, does it mean that you have no affinity with Nigeria? Your father is Nigeria, your uncle is Nigeria. We want to give that opportunity. I say visa on arrival for people who have Nigerian citizenship by birth that they cannot hold. This is great. This is great. It doesn't mean that if I don't have Nigerian passport anymore, I have nothing to do with Nigeria. This visa and arrival process will give opportunity to people like this nature to come straight, even though we'll put certain conditions, one of which we met with the stakeholders, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who said they should register with the embassy. Embassy will give them a specific type of document to say that, look, we are citizens of Nigeria, we're German, we cannot give Nigerian passport, but we have a Nigerian registration card from the consulate, which will be specific type, which will be have security features. Once you show it, come to Nigeria. We'll tell airline, if you see this kind of registration card with a passport, he's a Nigerian, allow him to board. He will board and get the visa in Nigeria. So we have strengthened our relationship with our own relation, who could not be Nigerian citizens because of the circumstances they found themselves. The values are great in terms of economic benefit, social integration, and above all, we are great leaders of Africa.
The pragmatic leadership of the CGI, Mohammed Babandede, MFR, and his team have brought about unprecedented all-round reforms and upgrade in the service that stands as a scorecard for other government agencies to emulate. There is no doubt that the CGI, dubbed Mr. Project, has a lot more up his sleeves. We will be right here to bring up the speed with happenings as they unfold at the NIS. For your questions, reactions, suggestions, and contributions, you can always reach us on these social media platforms: www.immigration.gov.ng. Send your emails to nis.pro@immigration.gov.ng. And our Twitter handle is at NIG-Immigration. We will surely respond. Remember to always observe all safety protocols to avoid the virus. Coronavirus is real. Join us again next week. same time and channel for another enlightening episode. I'm Victoria Omari Obeka. Goodbye.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Mining in Nigeria. My name is Gabriel Ojile, your regular anchor, welcoming you to another episode of the program. Quarrying is one significant aspect of mining. Just as numerous mineral types abound in Nigeria, so do dimension stones. And just as much as government is desirous to have a steady and well-productive solid mineral sector, the dimension stone industry is not excluded. The industry is one with huge potentials. Some companies have already begun tapping into the potentials of the industry with impressive outcomes. For government, the dream is to have an industry that will meet local demand without having to engage in importation. As it is said, the dimension stone industry in Nigeria is enough to feed local demand. On this edition of the program, we will take you to a quarry in Osun State that just recently began operating. What is the dream for this quarry and how well are they faring? These and more coming your way shortly. But first, we will take news highlights from the solid mineral sector. Don't go away.
The road to shared mining prosperity. We must ensure that we do not do it in a way that harms our health or our environment. Artisanal mining and the life to enjoy the wealth from it is possible if we put in place the proper preventive measures and provide the right equipment. No country should have to pay for its economic prosperity and development with the lives and well-being of its people.
We will begin the program with highlights of major happenings from the Nigerian solid mineral industry. Top on the lineup, British firm begins gold mining in Nigeria. These and other stories coming up shortly. Stay tuned.
A British firm, Panthera Resources plc, has announced that its associated company, Moido Holdings Limited, has commenced gold mining at its Paimasa project in Nigeria. The company made the announcement in the disclosure sent to the London Stock Exchange. It explained that the Paimasa project is located in central Nigeria, approximately 115 km north-northwest of the capital city, Abuja. It said that a program of 300 M diamond and 250 M reverse circulation RC drilling is proposed. The Diversified Gold Exploration and Development Company with assets in West Africa and India said the drilling commenced through Moido's joint venture company Gurara Holdings Limited. Previous drilling by Moido in nearby tenements at the Dagma prospect, approximately 45 km to the north-northwest, resulted in the identification of significant gold mineralization within quartz veins discovered by artisanal miners. Highlights of the project include extensive artisanal mining activity on several subparallel quartz veins. The company said there was no previous drilling in the strategic new frontier in West Africa, adding that there is additional target at the Mint prospect, approximately 1.5 kilometers away, along strike with similar veining, a potential for large-scale mineralized system. It added that the site has excellent infrastructure, only 115 kilometers from the capital city Abuja, and strong local partner in PW Nigeria Mining Limited with significant in-country infrastructure and logistics. Moido has conducted geological mapping, soil sampling, trenching and drilling. It added that the results are very encouraging, being the first drilling into a totally new project, and confirmed the presence of significant gold mineralization in the district. 2 vein swarms have been located approximately 1.5 kilometers apart and broadly along strike. The Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, has said that the ministry is ready to deploy science and technology in the area of solid mineral exploitation so as to accelerate economic diversification in the country. The minister disclosed this when he received the House Committee on Solid Minerals Development recently. He said the deployment of relevant technology to the solid mineral sector will help Nigeria achieve economic diversification in an inclusive and sustainable way. Dr. Onu also added that the ministry has the capacity to provide relevant data to aid solid mineral exploration, adding that science, technology and innovation is of strategic importance in the exploitation of the solid mineral industry in order to increase wealth and create more jobs for citizens. He said that the National Space Research Development Agency (NAFDAC) will help in the provision of data using satellites to guide miners to the areas where they can exploit mineral resources they need. Speaking earlier, Deputy Chairman House Committee on Solid Minerals Development Honorable Victor Melat Anzaria said the committee's visit was to intimate the ministry on the upcoming international summit resuscitating the Ajaokuta Steel Complex. Honorable Anzaria said the essence of the summit was for economic diversification in Nigeria with special focus on the solid mineral industry, adding that the application of science, technology and innovation (STI) is crucial to the development of the solid mineral industry.
Illegal exportation of our solid minerals is economic sabotage. You can do the mineral export business the right way. Apply for a mineral export license. Get and fill the Certificate of Incorporation Forms CAC 2 and 7. Give the source of the mineral. Get an inspection report. Pay royalty of 5% only and pronto. We are in the mineral export business legally and responsibly. Stop the illegal exportation of our solid minerals. For further inquiries, visit us at our headquarters, number 2, Luanda Crescent, off Adetokumbo Ademola Crescent, Wuse Zone 2, Abuja, FCT, Nigeria, or call us on +234 952 390 64 or +234 908 740-4761. You can also visit our website at www.minesandsteel.gov.ng or send an email to iaismp.support@minesandsteel.com. This message from the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development.
Welcome back. Sanlong Quarry in Osun State just recently began operations. The mine has the capacity to produce up to 800 to 1,000 tons of granite daily. How have operations been for a baby mining operation like this one? What challenges do they face? And what hopes are there for the quarry? This makes up our issues on this episode of Mining in Nigeria. Stay tuned.
Mining is one of the sectors that is receiving serious attention right now in Nigeria, not only from government, but from the private sector also. This is not unconnected with the abundant potentials embedded in this economically viable sector. Osun State, southwest Nigeria, is not left out of this. The state cannot be ignored when talking about mining in Nigeria. This is in view of the numerous mineral resources the state is blessed with.
Osun State is contributing a lot. For instance, now we have a Shekilola in Ikmirindo. Of course, one of the international companies that has been doing well. They've been doing explorations. They've been guiding people along. They know them almost everywhere in the country. And of course, all that I do, we know they pay it. And some of these small-scale miners too, they are working on this alluvia, on gold. They are also contributing. And of course, those who are working on the site of Tantalines, Tobalin, and other things that we have, and even the quarry people, we should be fair to them. They are also contributing through the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel. They pay their royalties, which they will give them receipt, and they will send the money to the federal government. So, and they do it religiously, in fairness to them. So these are the areas that people are contributing to the economy of the country and to the state as well.
We all know that mining is on the exclusive list of the federal government. The state cannot legislate on it. But we equally know that all land in a state is vested in the governor of that state. Therefore, the federal government has the power of mining, the governor has the land. There is need for synergy between the two tiers of government. It is this synergy that can encourage the citizens, particularly the youth, in an atmosphere of harmony to come out and embrace mining as occupation and helping themselves and in turn developing their state and the national economy as a whole.
Salon Quarry Nigeria Limited, located at Obagun Community, Area Road, Osun State, is one among the numerous quarries in Osun State. According to Julie Young, the site manager, this quarry began operation in the year 2020 and has the capacity to produce about 150 tons of granite per hour and about 800 to 1,000 tons a day. However, the quarry is currently not fully operational due to many challenges, one of which is the prevailing situation in the country and the world at large.
We actually only worked like 3 or 4 months after we start. Then the general market environment is not that good, not that favorable. So we have stopped production since last month. And we are facing this kind of challenges. This year is not that easy for this COVID and SARS protest, this kind of thing. So it affects us also.
The quarry provides employment for about 20 workers daily. One major desire of the quarry is security, especially that it is operated by foreigners.
Self-help is the best help, so we are trying to do everything ourselves. What we want government to do is government can provide us a more secured environment. That is very important, especially for us like foreigners. We normally just stay inside. We don't really go out because people will see it's not safe or this. That's why we use security. We use our civil defense people to help. This one is very important. In other ways, if we have challenges, we can go to government to pursue their help. That would be helpful.
Julie Young speaks on the potentials of mining in Osun and how the government can make operations better.
Actually, in Osun State, generally the environment is okay. We can see the stones and the resources are plenty, and it's not that difficult to mining. And so this one is okay. The only thing is the market demand is not that high, and the market demand partly is because we have some projects, government didn't really issue the funds. So they don't have money, then they will not come to buy. Or they come to buy, they buy on credit. Sometimes, if they ask for too much credit, it will be beyond our own capacity. So we just wish government can release their funds, do as their budget does, to give this contract work. If we have seen many projects going on, like if we have a road construction, we will have markets. That is what also we want government to do. It's not directly help us, but it will definitely help us a lot.
The stones, which come in different sizes after being crushed by different machines on the sites, have different names and uses. From granite to stone base to stone dust, 3/4, 1 inch, ½ inch, 3/8, and hardcore to mention but a few. All these also come in different prices. The prices range from 3,800 to 4,500 per ton. The site is always full of activities on a daily basis, with trucks coming in and out, to load granites of different sizes to be taken to different locations within the state. The benefits of this type of quarry in any location within the country goes beyond the benefits government gains through payment of taxes and royalties. The community which such projects are domiciled also stands to benefit a lot, especially through the corporate social responsibility of the companies involved. The story is not different with Sanlong Quarry.
We are in this community. Firstly, the first beneficiary is the community. Like we will do our own contributions to them. If they have a project, we do our own parts. If they have road has problem, we also help. Like the town hall, the road, we have tried our best to help them. Then, secondly, one quarry like this here, our direct workers, like I told you, is about 20 workers directly. Then all those agents, those truck drivers, they all get work to do. Even those food sellers, those workshops, they all have work to do. So we are encouraging, we get more employment. We are encouraging in these aspects. And also, other things will also be boosted if there's a quarry here. Maybe you will see people build house easily because they can get material easily, not like before. They may go very far to get material. Also the blocks, even the block we buy before, they make it with sand, which is not strong. We have many broken ones. And now they are using stone dust. The quality is much better than before. So I think we are helping the economy in one and other ways. Also, we pay tax. That one is for government revenue.
The state president and the general secretary, Osun Miners Association and Union, speaks on the huge potentials of mining in Osun State.
Most of our members, I wouldn't want to underrate us. Some of my members are already on the field. So when they win the minerals or whatsoever, they pay royalty to the government. So through that, they also contribute to the economy of the state and the federal. That creates employment opportunities for some of these people. Like the site we visited today, you see there are some people that are security guards, there are some people like operators. Those are the community people there that your company employs. So it generates employment opportunities for our people.
We have over 42 mineral resources in Osun State that are of commercial quantities. And we want to encourage our youth, first and foremost, to show interest in active participation. And we also want to use the medium of this, your media chat, to invite investors from within and outside Nigeria to come and invest in mining in Osun State. Of course, whoever comes around will enjoy the hospitality of Osun State, and of course, we benefit from the richness of our natural resources.
So many minerals have huge potentials in the country. Dimension stones are not exception. Just as some are focused on tapping potentials of minerals of different kinds, some have pitched their tents with dimension stones and are enjoying the benefits. Sanlong Quarry is no exception. And as government stand to gain from investments like this one, communities and the private sector also have much to benefit, which makes it a win-win situation for all. Let's see the prospects of lead zinc in Nigeria on our next segment, Mineral Potentials. mining tidbits coming up next. Stay with us.
Analytics company Global Data reports that natural graphite production is expected to increase by 7.6% to 1.02 million tons this year, following a 15.4% year-on-year decrease to 952,600 tons in 2020. Global Data senior mining analyst Vineet Bajaj explained in a release that the natural graphite production growth up to 2024 will be supported by growing demand from the electric vehicle battery segment, where graphite is a key component. Graphite production experienced a downturn in 2020 owing to mines being placed either under care and maintenance or temporary suspension due to lockdowns and restrictions. Global Data expects natural graphite production to increase to 1.2 million tons by 2024, representing a 5.6% compound annual growth rate, saying China will remain the world's largest producer. The country produced about 665,000 tons of natural graphite in 2020. The London Bullion Market Association (LBMA) reports that at the end of November last year, there was a record 9,452 tons of gold, valued at $535 billion held in stocks. This marked the 7th consecutive month of increases in stocks. The LBMA also reported 33,475 tons of silver holdings, valued at $23.8 billion as at November 30th. The data represents the holdings of 7 custodians offering vaulting services and that are members of the LBMA and the Bank of England. The volume of ounces transferred in November bounced back from a 5-year low in October, posting an increase of 16.5% month-on-month to 18.4 million ounces, with the corresponding value up by 14.3% to $34.2 billion. A company led by American-Senegalese R&B singer Akon has signed a deal to finance a copper and cobalt mine in the Democratic Republic of Congo in a joint venture with a state miner. Akon's foray into Congo's mining sector comes through a U.S.-registered firm called White Waterfall, of which he is the president and CEO. One of the contracts dated December 14, 2020 and signed by Akon, whose legal name is Aliano Thiam, commits White Waterfall to pay the $2 million signing bonus and financing a feasibility study of the Kimono Reserve in Haut-Katanga province. Congo is Africa's top producer of copper and the world's leading miner of cobalt used in electric car batteries. White Waterfall is a private equity fund that invests in mining companies that are not publicly traded, according to its website. The site does not list the company's investors or any investments.
Illegal exportation of our solid minerals is economic sabotage. You can do the mineral export business the right way. Apply for a mineral export license. Get and fill the Certificate of Incorporation Forms CAC 2 and 7. Give the source of the mineral. Get an inspection report. Pay royalty of 5% only and pronto. We are in the mineral export business legally and responsibly. Stop the illegal exportation of our solid minerals. For further inquiries, visit us at our headquarters, number 2, Luanda Crescent, off Adetokumbo Ademola Crescent, Wuse Zone 2, Abuja, FCT, Nigeria. Or call us on +234 952 390 64 or +234 908 740 4761. You can also visit our website at www.minesandsteel.gov.ng or send an email to iaismp.support@minesandsteel.com. This message from the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development.
On this note, we bring the program to an end. Thank you for staying tuned. Until next week when I come your way again with more updates from the solid mineral sector. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye for now.
A new year has begun. A new planting season is upon us. The farmer's wish for every new year is a bumper harvest. Our farms feeds us as a nation and gives us more to export. It will be a great year if we produce larger quantities of agricultural products that are eligible for exports. The Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service advises all farmers to avoid the use of prohibited pesticides and the indiscriminate application of permissible pesticides. High pesticides residues in agricultural commodities make the products unsafe for human consumption. Food products with high pesticides residues are not acceptable for export. Do not use any banned pesticides in planting or storing your crops. Farm smarter this year. Sell locally and internationally and reap high incomes. For further information on how to grow crops, visit the NAQS office nearest to you or www.naqs.gov.ng. Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, safeguarding the Nigerian agricultural economy.
Hey beautiful, your eyes, your smile are all begging me to take you home tonight. Now reading page 3. Experience unlimited super-fast internet access from Entel 4G. Entel. Live more.
This is the Wilson family last week. This is the Wilson family this week. What's changed? What? The Wilson family got maximum entertainment for less, and now they're closer than ever. Your family can be too.
How does this work?
With world-class international channels that put the quality back in your quality time.
That's what I'm talking about.
GoTV Max will bring you and your family closer in no time. So upgrade to GoTV Max for only 2,999 Naira today. Make you enjoy. GoTV. Love it.
Do you know that 35% of every girl child and women are raped on a daily basis? Some are killed in the process, some take their lives in shame, others remain emotionally dead for life. It is sad. This culture is not ours, definitely not African. How did we allow bad culture to infiltrate and take over? Even if you lack fear for the law, what of fear of God? And you, why do you cover up rape acts when it happens? Remember, a problem shared is a problem half solved. Never cover any rape act because a rapist is a murderer. It could be you or your loved ones next. Women must be treated like the prize giant they are. Say no to rape.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International. Your window to the world.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide a company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment.
Moment for sober reflection as Nigeria remembers her fallen gallant heroes.
NAFDAC will note clinical peculiarities in form of serious or adverse events following immunization in the dossier that we are reviewing.
NAFDAC warns against adulterated COVID-19 vaccine. Plus, schools resumption. Federal Ministry of Education asks parents and institutions to comply with COVID-19 safety protocols. Hello, a very warm evening to you. This is NTA Network News and we are live in Abuja. I am Jumwa Yusuf. Tonight, Adiola Kami Akere is in Lagos and Charles Abba will be joining us from Makurdi in the course of the news bulletin. Now we begin with activities marking the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebrations finally came to a close nationwide with the symbolic wreath-laying ritual at the cenotaph of the unknown soldier in Abuja, the nation's capital. The epoch-making and solemn occasion presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari took place at the National Arcade. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the report.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is an annual event set aside to honor the nation's fallen heroes who sacrificed their lives during the World Wars, the Nigerian Civil War, as well as the various peacekeeping and internal security operations. This year's ritual is particularly significant as it coincides with the massive onslaught against terrorism, insurgency, and other criminal activities in parts of the country. In the last 7 days, for instance, over 110 terrorists were neutralized and nearly 400 livestock recovered in various military operations. The need to appreciate the contributions of the troops towards the restoration of normalcy in troubled spots as well as protection of the nation's territorial integrity is therefore of great importance. Laying of the wreath at the cenotaph of the unknown soldier by President Muhammadu Buhari was indeed the climax of the solemn commemorative activities kicked off in October last year. The president was joined by Vice President Yemi Oshibanjo, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, Speaker Femi Bajabiamila of the House of Representatives, Chief Justice of Nigeria, as well as Ministers of Defense and the FCT. There were also the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs, and the Inspector General of Police, as well as representatives of the Diplomatic Corps, the Nigerian Legion, and widows of the fallen heroes. Special prayers were offered for the repose of the souls of the departed soldiers, as well as peace, unity, stability, and prosperity of the country.
Lord God, bless and protect our government and political leaders at all levels. Reward their struggle with great success for us all.
بين القوات المسلحة النيجيرية والإرهابيين في شمال الشرق النيجيري.
Grant unto us who are alive grace, courage, and determination to keep the flag of selfless service to our fatherland flying.
At the launch of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day Emblem and Appeal Fund last October, President Muhammadu Buhari made a strong case for Nigerians to desist from actions and comments that are inimical to the stability and prosperity of Nigeria. He said Nigeria's unity has been achieved at great cost and must therefore be guarded jealously by all, as the strength of the nation lies in her diversity. In Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Well, today is Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which has been marked with elaborate ceremony at the National Remembrance Arcade, Abuja, culminating to the laying of the wreath and other actions symbolizing military tradition. Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani breaks down these symbolic acts.
Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic.
When the president lays the wreath, it is termed a most solemn ceremony in observance of the National Remembrance Day, more solemn than other wreath-laying ceremonies by other dignitaries. The general salute used to welcome the president, the chief of defense staff and other service chiefs, as well as other dignitaries, is another military tradition. It is a mark of respect accorded to high-ranking officers and other dignitaries. A unique type of salute is the respect that is rendered over a grave by a military honor guard. Originally, 3 rifle volleys were fired into the air over the grave of a fallen soldier. This custom may well have originated as a perceived need to scare away evil spirits escaping from the dead. Today, the homage and respect displayed at military funerals is a visible final tribute to those individuals who have served their country. The unknown soldier is a monument dedicated to the services of an unknown soldier. It symbolizes the common memories of all soldiers killed in war. The réveil, le réveil in French, is a bugle or trumpet call, chiefly used to wake military personnel at sunrise. The name comes from réveil, the French word for wake up. Another interpretation of the call is that one day the soldiers will rise again. There are many more symbols which are part of military tradition, but these are the ones which are apt for this occasion of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
The state government will continue to engage the services of retired servicemen of the armed forces and leverage on their wealth of experience to strengthen the security architecture of the state. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu stated this after the wreath-laying ceremony to commemorate this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Lagos. Musa Toliat reports.
It was yet another time of the year when serving officers of the Nigerian Armed Forces come out in their colorful ceremonial uniforms to honor ex-servicemen and pay glowing tributes to the departed veterans of the armed forces. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu lauded the arduous task being carried out by the armed forces to decimate insurgencies and curb banditry across the country. He, however, acknowledged the patriotism displayed by the fallen heroes to defend the country against external attacks.
It's been also a testimonial and it's a yearly ritual that we're thankful to God that we can still keep this year's activity as important as it is.
Inspection of Guard of Honor by Governor Sanwo-Olu, wreath-laying session, as well as 3-gun salutes were integral part of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is commemorated in Nigeria on January 15 every year. More importantly, it is a day set aside to reassure the dependents of the fallen heroes that they are not alone.
In a related development, Governor Sanwo-Olu has announced the composition of a 4-man committee to work out modalities with the family of the deceased former military administrator of Lagos State, Rear Admiral Ndubisi Kanu, for befitting burial. He disclosed this when he paid a condolence visit on the family of the late Rear Admiral. The former military administrator, late Rear Admiral Ndubisi Kanu, who died on the 13th January, was a prominent voice in NADECO and was also at the helm of affairs in Lagos State between 1977 and 1978. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
And various states across the country joined in honoring the gallantry and bravery of the Nigerian Armed Forces as the nation marks the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Wufan Shaji compiled the various ceremonies in honor of the fallen heroes.
In Akwa Ibom State, the government has injected the sum of 100 million naira to boost the small and medium-scale businesses of wives of fallen heroes.
We must not only utter words of encouragement and appreciation, but must pay our thoughts and wallets to the families they left behind.
Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has tasked government at all levels to formulate policies that will adequately cater for families of fallen heroes and members of the Nigerian Armed Forces.
Thank all the military personnel for your selfless service and sacrifice. Admittedly, no amount of recompense can adequately assuage the loss of precious lives.
Meanwhile, in Oyo State, Governor Sheyi Makinde assured people of government's continued collaboration with security agencies for sustainable peace in the society and promised unflinching support to families of fallen heroes.
They're doing their best. So, for us as a government, our responsibility is to encourage them.
From Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, Governor May Malabuni, alongside other personalities, marked the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. In Kano, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje led heads of security agencies and other prominent citizens to honor the nation's fallen heroes. In Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki is seeking a joint effort against insurgency in the country. He wants Nigerians to support officers and men of the armed forces in fighting the menace.
Security is everybody's responsibility. It's just not the responsibility of only those in uniform.
In Quarry State, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration was a solemn one as men of the Nigerian Legion decried their neglected status.
The sportsmen, when they say they won't give us, when they give us in time to maintain ourselves.
Meanwhile, Niger, Nasarawa, Jigawa, and Delta state governments have pledged their continued support to the welfare of 7 security operatives and their families.
May Allah grant them his Gafur.
We need a national, united Nigeria that will ensure national integration.
In Osun State, Governor Boyega Oyetola reiterated his commitment to the welfare of Nigerian Legion and their families for their sacrifices in the service of the nation.
We assure you that your welfare and that of your families of the fallen heroes will continually be prioritized.
Meanwhile, in Ebonyi State, Gombe and Kogi State, the day was also celebrated as well as in Cross River State, where Governor Ben Ayade donated a brand new bus to the Nigerian Legion to aid the movement of its members. Legionary Wives Association of Nigeria, Bauchi State Chapter, put smiles on the faces of some women whose husbands have contributed in nation building and various peacekeeping operations. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
Thank you, Gufan. And now joining me in the studio to talk more on Armed Forces Remembrance Day is Commando Christian Anuge, retired but not retired space engineer. You're welcome to Network News.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you join us.
Yeah.
You've served your country well until your retirement. So can you tell us how you would rate this year's, celebration, especially in terms of changing, circumstances and the new normal now around the world? How would you rate it this year?
I think, generally speaking, it is quite commendable because this year's event took a unique turn in that it cuts across just bare formalities on the rituals of laying of wreaths. It is important to know that most state governments are beginning to key into the vision of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is to remember the fallen heroes and even the living heroes, those that are still serving, like some of us. For instance, I'm pleased to hear that the Lagos State government is trying to engage the services of ex-servicemen in areas of nation building by way of empowering them to contribute meaningfully to the development of the states. That is commendable because when you are retired, you are not retired. A lot has been invested in us in terms of training and in terms of capacity building. And even when one is not in the active service, this is a time to pay back to society what the government has imputed on us. That's quite commendable. And it's also gladdening to hear that most state governments are looking into the welfare of ex-servicemen, empowering widows of the fallen heroes, and also looking at the areas of empowering them in terms of entrepreneurial skills. These are good developments, and it has actually given hope to the essence of this Armed Forces Remembrance Day. And this year soon has been unique, and the support that is being given to the Armed Forces is, to the Legion, is quite commendable. I've just heard the state government donating a bus to the Legion and all that. Those are some of the things that should be done. It's not just a federal thing. The state governments are keen into it, and that's a very commendable development.
And some of them are even saying that they would like to come, and serve the nation again, even in retirement. Now, let's look behind, beyond the actual celebration and look at the symbolic, celebration to our soldiers in the fronts, and including counter-insurgency operations in the northeast and other missions. Our soldiers are out there every day battling these insurgents. So, how symbolic is it to them?
Yeah, that's quite relevant. The truth is that the retired veteran or the member of the Legion is actually in the reserve. That is how it is. It's in the reserve. The fact that you are retired, you can be called into service if need be. So if there's that consideration or that policy to bring back some of the air servicemen with wealth of experience to join the ongoing operation against insurgency and banditry and all the rest is quite in order. Because this is what is done elsewhere all over the world. It's a part of global best practice, whereby there are some people who are skilled, but they have to be retired, maybe due to their age or due to other reasons, and they still find that they are useful. Of course, they can be brought back to the field, and that's very important, especially in the area of intelligence gathering. That is, it doesn't have to be real combat roles. Intelligence gathering in the area of technological support, engineers, these and you name it. These are areas that the air serviceman can still be useful, and that is very cogent right now in terms of ongoing operation in the various task forces across the country.
So we celebrate the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, day in, day out. Let's have your projections for the military in the next 5 years, and what would it take to achieve the feat? In the next 5 years, there's no more insurgency, no more banditry. What will it take to achieve these feats?
Yes, a lot has to go into that. Of course, it has to require a lot of logistic support. The soldiers at the front have to be given a lot of logistic support in terms of ammunition, in terms of accoutrements, in terms of equipment, so that they can do their jobs. And then also, it has to also involve a reorientation in the training, because the security threat in Nigeria today is no more conventional. It has become asymmetrical. The role of the armed forces has to be, the training has to be re-engineered to focus more on internal security as against external security. External threats are no longer in vogue. It is more of internal security and policing role, so that the army can assist the police and the various security agents in achieving total security for Nigeria. And for that to happen, there need to be a lot of technological innovation brought in place. The Nigerian Armed Forces have to go to the cutting edge. We have to look at the area of geospatial intelligence, using technology to gather intelligence and go away from the conventional aspect. We just have to be ahead. We have to be at least a step ahead of the adversary, so as to be able to achieve aim. Then, of course, the soldier of today has found himself more and more in the field of interacting with the civilians. So there has to be increase in the training of civil-military relations. There has to be that confidence building between the military and the civilians, so that there can be mutual understanding to avoid unnecessary friction. And if this is done, Nigerian Armed Forces will actually be at the cutting edge and take its position in the scheme of things in Africa and in the global scene.
Okay, thank you so much, Commodore Christian Anoge, retired but not retired.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on Network News.
It's a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure having you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Now, as the nation remembers the sacrifices of its fallen heroes and members of the armed forces currently on the front lines in several theaters of operations, some war veterans have appealed to the federal government to look into the welfare of ex-servicemen and their families. Dr. Ogunyeme has the report.
Commonwealth countries, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day is celebrated on the 11th of November yearly. But Nigeria, however, moves that date to January 15th to accommodate the commemoration of the end of the Nigerian Civil War in 1970. From the grounds of the Memorial Arcade, I went in search of some of these veterans whom the day has been dedicated to. At the office of the Nigerian Legion, Oshodi, I met retired Major Salahuddin Agbadilola, who left the army after 12 years of service following a leg injury.
I'm a driver. I'm driving the powerhouse, those electricians. So that is when I return from the war front. But at that time, I'm not hearing well. So I was retired by then and later joined this Nigerian Legion in 1978.
Although the Nigerian Legion provides solace for these ex-servicemen, it is not without its challenges, as retired Colonel Samuel Folakonde explains.
We have people now dying, their children now become nobody to take care. There must be a way to look into their affairs and behave educationally.
Unlike other events celebrated under the shadow of COVID-19, the 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day stands out as a unique event. In Lagos, Dotun Okunyemi, NTA News.
Still on security, the Directorate of Defense Media Operations DMO says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has destroyed some Boko Haram terrorist vehicles and eliminated several of their fighters along the Jagana axis of Borno State. DMO Coordinator Major General John Eneche says this was achieved through airstrikes executed on 13th January 2021 after intelligence reports revealed that the terrorists were conducting logistic movement through the Jacana main axis of the state. A Nigerian Air Force intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft dispatched to the area subsequently spotted the VHT vehicles at a location south of Jacana. NAF helicopter gunships engaged the convoy in successive attacks, delivering accurate hits in the target area, which resulted in the destruction of 2 BHT vehicles. Several of the terrorists were also eliminated, while one of the logistic vehicles was seen overturned. We now pause to remember our fallen heroes. Don't go away.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend, that gives a hand to thine. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For help, of kindness yet for old lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friend.
Indeed, today is a day for sober reflections. May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Up ahead on the news, NAFDAC warns against fake COVID-19 vaccines. Details after these messages. Stay with us.
My honeycomb, my flavored chocolate, a yakpa for you now.
I'm coming.
Come, let me spoil you. Look, this is not boil or abscess. Now money.
I'm gonna show for King's Lounge right now. Beams, yakpa for you.
Find your first. Get a Glow special data plan. Dial *777# Glow.
For you to tanda for this world, you gats know what's up. Sabi waiting day ground, then start to do your own. Get ginger to study every. Because when you fit see the different side of the world, anything they possible. BBC News for Pidgin, make your life better.
When times are tough, we know that as a mother, one thing you should never compromise on is your family's oral health, because they deserve the best. Oral-B, all-round protection. It's great value. It protects your mouth from harmful bacteria and also protects you against tooth holes and gum problems which can lead to tooth loss. It strengthens your family's teeth and gives them all-round protection. So remember, protect their future. Oral-B for healthier, stronger teeth in just 1 week.
Dear customer, link your Airtel number to your national identification number today. Here are easy ways you can do it. Dial *121*1# on your Airtel line and follow the prompts on the screen. Type in your 11-digit government-approved NIN number. You will receive a confirmation message to confirm your entry. You can also visit www.airtel.com.ng/NIN to link your phone number to your NIN. If you do not know your NIN, simply dial *346# to get it. No stress, no wahala.
Airtel, the smartphone network. This is the Wilson family last week. This is the Wilson family this week. What's changed? What? The Wilson family got maximum entertainment for less, and now they're closer than ever. Your family can be too.
How does this work?
With world-class international channels that put the quality back in your quality time.
That's what I'm talking about.
GoTV Max will bring you and your family closer in no time. So upgrade to GoTV Max for only 2,999 naira today. Make you enjoy. GoTV. Love it.
After dropping 2 points from a winning position last week, Wolverhampton Wanderers will be excited to welcome struggling West Bromwich Albion to the Molineux Stadium. Will West Brom prove an easy 3 points? Find out as Wolverhampton Wanderers take on West Bromwich Albion on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 1 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
You're welcome back. Now let's bring you up to speed with other news making the rounds. National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, says it has not received any application from any COVID-19 vaccine manufacturer and no vaccines have been approved by NAFDAC. Director General NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeye, stated this at an emergency virtual conference. Haman Jabani reports.
With the approval of some COVID-19 vaccines, there are indications that fake COVID-19 vaccines are already in circulation around the world, Nigeria inclusive. It is in light of this that the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, is asking government establishments and agencies not to order COVID-19 vaccine without confirmation from NAFDAC. The agency says it is discussing with the manufacturers of candidate COVID-19 vaccine concerning potential emergency use authorization, registration or licensing of their product as the case may be, while assuring applicants that if phase 3 clinical data are convincing and robust with regards to safety and efficacy and the vaccines has been submitted for WHO emergency use listing, NAFDAC will welcome the application for emergency use authorization in Nigeria.
Despite the use of reliance for the emergency use authorization, NAFDAC will note clinical peculiarities in form of serious or adverse events following immunization in the dossier that we are reviewing or in the application.
The agency says it is collaborating with sister agencies and partners, plans to use traceability with GS1 technology and monitor vaccine distribution while assuring Nigerians that any dossier will be evaluated before being used in Nigeria despite WHO's approval. Hanman Jabani, NTA News.
And in the face of surging second wave of COVID-19, the Nasarawa state government is engaging district heads across the state for grassroots mobilization and sensitization among the locals on adherence to protocols. Aliu Tijani Mohammed reports.
With the second wave of COVID-19 hitting harder and what experts describe as nonchalant attitude of residents towards non-pharmaceutical safety protocols, the state government is adopting another measure to curb community spread of the virus. District heads are now to enforce compliance to COVID-19 protocols in their communities. Governor Abdullahi asked them to assist government in ensuring that their subjects adhere strictly to the ban on mass gathering, social distancing, washing of hands and use of face masks.
That because of your closeness to the populace, you will do us a big favor by being the ones who will convey our concerns and the different areas of protocols and assist us on the awareness when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic.
On security, government urged district heads to monitor influx of people into their domains and provide useful information to security agencies. District heads assure government of their commitment to peace-building mechanism adopted by the state government, while pledging to work hard in curbing community transmission of COVID-19. In Lafia, Aliu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Education now maintains that the school resumption date of Monday, 18th January still remains. A statement from the ministry indicates that the decision was reached after comprehensive meetings with state governors, commissioners of education, proprietors of private schools and heads of institutions, unions, parents and state students association to appraise the situation. It directs parents and respective institutions to ensure full compliance with COVID-19 protocols such as compulsory wearing of face masks by all students, teachers and workers. The statement encouraged schools to ensure temperature checks and hand washing facilities at strategic locations, constant supply of water and sanitizers, enforcement of maintenance of social distancing and suspension of large gatherings such as assembly and visiting days. It also called for other measures including limitations in class sizes and hostel occupancy, availability of functional health clinics with facilities for isolation and transportation of suspected cases to medical facilities, amongst others non-pharmaceutical protocols. Meanwhile, schools in Quarry State are set to resume on Monday, January 18th for the 2020-2021 second term academic classes under strict compliance with COVID-19 safety protocols to guard against the community spread of the virus. Kainde Omolosho monitored the level of preparedness by some schools in Ilori.
Khadija Musa is SSS3 student. She, like many other students, is eager to resume for the academic year.
But because of COVID-19 and everything that's been happening, I cannot hug them, but I have to shake them with elbow so that there's going to be social distance between us.
I visited some public and private schools in the state and noticed the provision of hand wash buckets, soap, and hand sanitizers. Another safety measure is an isolation center in a private school for any student with symptoms of the virus.
As from the gates, that they will check them
before they came into the compound to put on their nose masks. And we try as much as possible to see that when they're in the class, they are not congested.
If you want to run school bus, let it be 2 students per seat. If it is a longer one, let it be 3 students on a seat, and collect same money that we know for you. Any parent that cannot sustain that, they should be bringing their own children to the school.
The State Ministry of Education has put in place a task force to monitor and enforce compliance with the safety protocols by schools in the state.
It's not enough for students to bring the face mask, but to make use of it and make use of their sanitizer. So to curtail this is the effort of all stakeholders.
As schools resume Monday next week, pupils like Khadija are expected to unite with their friends and learn while observing the safety protocols against the community spread of the coronavirus in the state. Kehinde Omolosho, NTA News.
Now, the School Aid Information Technology app is introducing a one-stop shop for educational research that allows students to do self-assessment in their preparation for examinations, enabling them to receive scores through the app. A statement by Samuel Daniel for the school described the platform as a stimulation software that provides national and international educational consultancy services over the internet and other related networks, empowering students with unique opportunities of accessing exam preparation materials with just a click on their phones, laptops and tablets. The School Aid app will be live as from February 2021, and students are encouraged to take advantage by visiting www.schoolaidapp.com for details. I'll take that again, www.schoolaidapp.com for details. Federal government says it is addressing challenges of erosion in parts of the country through construction of bridges and reclaimed earthwork. Secretary of the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said this while inaugurating Ecological Fund projects in Tudunwada community of Nasarawa State. Aliu Tijani Muhammad tells us more.
Tudunwada in Karo local government area of Nasarawa State, it suffers ecological challenges with attendant loss of lives and property.
This is a bridge that we lost a lot of lives. This bridge has been a major problem to our community.
Federal government through the Ecological Fund office has intervened, thereby bringing respite to the people of the community. A bridge, network of roads and reclaimed earthwork are projects executed to control erosion in the area. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says the present administration is addressing environmental challenges across the country through various interventions, as he urged the locals to take ownership of the projects.
The project was intended to check the very serious erosion of the embankments of the Sabo-Kashi Bridge, restore vehicular and pedestrian movement across the river, as well as reduce dangers to lives and properties.
Governor Abdullahi and the FCT Minister Mohamed Musa Bello says, in addition to flood control, the new road will serve as alternative route to Abuja.
I want to continue to show appreciation to Mr. President for all the support Nasarawa State continues to receive in all areas.
Similar projects are being inaugurated across the country to mitigate impact of flooding. From Karo, Aliu Tijani Mohamed, NTA News.
Benefits of the Cano-Maradi rail project in focus. Details as we join Adiola in our Lagos studio. Hello, Adiola.
Jermaine. The Cano-Maradi rail project has been described as a courageous move by the federal government in its desperate attempt to rejuvenate domestic and international trade. Beyond this benefit, transportation experts are looking at the potential of the project to unlock the untapped investment in the northern part of the country. Michael Olaleye reports.
The Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, appending his signature to the birth of a strategic rail network. It is the 284-kilometer Kano to Maradi rail project, expected to serve as gateway to unearthing the wealth inherent across the Sahara. This is because the two major locations do not just share cultural trades, but they are major hub for transport and agricultural trade.
Even when I was not there, when I was director, we have been meeting with Niger government
and we move one or twice to Nguru for them, and they will not use the road and move their goods. But that's multiple handling. So if we say we stop Kano and stop at the border of Nigeria, and it's just 20 kilometers to a very big, busy hub, why it makes sense to take it there.
It is not just a project born out of intuition, but a fulfillment of a master plan with regional dominance as the watchword, now that Africans must trade on a single platform.
Cano-Maradi rail project has been on the table since the tenure of Alhaji Umaru Diko as Federal Minister of Transportation. It's part of the 25-year program for development of the rail network in the country. Just as the federal government is presently concentrating on the West African coast, the rail line project being developed towards Dakar, it is the same concept that is being used for the Cano-Maradi rail project.
It's going to open up the northern states of Jigawa, Katsina states, and a lot of jobs will be provided to the indigents during the construction.
The timing of the $1.96 billion project has generated divergent views, especially now that the country is in recession.
The best thing for any country during the period of recession is to develop infrastructure.
The single-track standard gauge line, expected to have 12 stations, is the continuation of the Lagos-Kano Railway, and it is believed that it will offer the much-anticipated seamless connection between the coastline and the Sahara deserts. In Lagos, Michael Olane, NT News.
December Consumer Price Index released. That will be on our business news with Abdullahi Salami. Over to you, Abdullahi.
Thank you so much, Adiola. Good evening and welcome to the Business News segment. The Consumer Price Index released this Friday recorded 15.75% increase year-on-year from 14.89% in November of 2020, representing an increase of 0.86%. In the figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics, the headline index rose by 1.61% from 1.60% in November on month-on-month basis, while the percentage change in the average composite consumer price index for 12 months ending December 2020 over the average for the previous month was 13.25%, representing a 0.33% increase over the 12.92% recorded in November 2020.
Food inflation increased by 19.56% from 18.3% in November. But core inflation almost remained flat, just increased from about 11% to about 11.37%. So the major component of the increase we saw was in food inflation.
Meanwhile, expectations are high that the country will soon exit recession and progress on the path of growth. And now let's shift our attention to the capital market. Investors got smiling faces on the last trading day of the week as market sentiment remains positive. Details in this report.
The last trading day of the week saw the market close in the green territory, appreciating by 0.52% to close the all-share index at 41,176.14 basis point. Volume of shares finished at 666 million, valued at 6.3 billion naira, which exchanged hands in 6,980 deals, with a market capitalization traded at 21.5 trillion naira. Flour mills led on the gainers table, appreciating by 9.33%, followed by Presco and MTN Nigeria, gaining 2.78% and 1.19%, while Adrova, Mayon Baker and Zenith Bank depreciated in figures by 9.84%, 5.71% and 0.38%. On the activity chart, virtually all sectors closed in the green as NSE banking, insurance, consumer goods and industrial gained 0.44%, 4.14%, 1.41% and 0.08%, while the oil and gas sector declined in figure by 0.54%.
Market report concludes business news segment. Juma in Abuja will be back with the rest of the news after this short timeout. Please stay with us.
Research Institute of Nigeria, FRIN, located in Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State, southwest Nigeria, has been repositioned for better service delivery to its teeming clients across the globe. The institute remains undoubtedly as a foremost research center of excellence with respect to knowledge-based forestry activities as measured by the acquired scientific breakthrough. FRIN has demonstrated that youths, women and retirees can make millions of naira practicing low-capital agriculture. These include cane, rat, rabbit, and snail farming with returns on investments regularly. Added to its feathers is a certification by NAFDAC to the FRIN C-tone herbal mixture and remedy for the management of COVID-19 related ailments as immune booster. The institute is recognized by several international agencies. Recently, it got approval for 3 biosphere reserves in Nigeria by the UNESCO, MAB, and ICC. FRIN has come to stay. The future is very bright in making the forest profitable.
Just how powerful is the healing power of Vaseline in protecting your skin this Harmattan season? Imagine this leaf is like your skin. We applied Vaseline jelly to one leaf, the other we left alone. The difference is visible. If it can keep a leaf vibrant, imagine what it could do for your skin during Harmattan. Nothing locks in moisture better to keep your skin restored, soft and smooth. Your trusted companion during this Harmattan season.
Life can be very eventful. We curiously expect things to happen, even when we don't know what. Our human nature makes us like and repost lots of information. Some are unverified, inciting anger and hate. Sometimes innocently, other times the urge to break it first. This, in most cases, has caused destruction in many nations.
Dropping 2 points from a winning position last week, Wolverhampton Wanderers will be excited to welcome struggling West Bromwich Albion to the Molineux Stadium. Will West Brom prove an easy 3 points? Find out as Wolverhampton Wanderers take on West Bromwich Albion on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 1 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Papai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
Thanks for staying with us. The agitations and misconceptions among Niger Delta youths, which has resulted to distrust, will soon be put to rest following the pact by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs, and the Presidential Amnesty Program targeted at having lasting peace and making the region economically viable. Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, disclosed this after a closed-door meeting with ex-agitators at the Palace of King Ateke Tom in Okrika local government area of Rivers State. Osinachi Abraham reports.
The visit to Okochiri Kingdom is aimed at repositioning and securing development and peace in the Niger Delta through constructive engagement with key players in the region. Senator Godswill Akpabio, while unveiling plans to bring in foreign direct investment, create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive, urged youths of the region to take advantage of the many poverty alleviation programs of the federal government to better their lives.
I'm quite pleased that now we are on course. We must find ways to develop modalities of moving this region forward.
If we say somebody is empowered, it's either an entrepreneur who can stand on his feet or is so well trained that he can compete for any job on his own steam.
At an earlier interaction with the youths, NDDC's interim administrator, Barrister Effiong Akwa, said he is determined to change the narratives and bring on board new ideas that will bring lasting development and create jobs for the teeming youths of the region.
We want to see Niger Delta youth gainfully trained, ready to be engaged in the society. We want to see an end to agitation. We want to take these things away from the Niger Delta.
The generals and ex-agitators who received the team thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for the appointment of Barrister Effiong Akwa as interim administrator NDDC and commended the collaboration by the key actors to rebuild the region. The youths expressed optimism that the NDDC boss, if given enough time and support, will deliver on his mandate of repositioning the Niger Delta. In Port Harcourt, Osun Abraham, NTA News.
Time now to link up with Charles Abba in our Makurdi Network studio for more on the Armed Forces Remembrance Day and also update on the cholera outbreak in parts of Benue. Hello, Charles. It's good to see you.
Hello, Jumei, and a warm welcome to Makurdi. The Benue State government and other eminent personalities have lauded the armed forces for their commitment to the unity of the nation as well as sustainability of peace in the country. This was made known when the Benue State Deputy Governor joined top military officers and others to lay wreaths at the Arcade of the Unknown Soldier in honor of the fallen heroes as Nigeria marks 2021 Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Correspondent covered the occasion and now reports.
15 every year is dedicated to honor armed forces personnel who made the supreme sacrifice during the First and Second World War, as well as the Nigerian Civil War, which ended on January 15, 1970, to instill peace and unity in Nigeria. The day is also used to celebrate veteran soldiers and service officers in the front line of defense of the country against insurgencies and terrorism. In Benue State, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day was marked with the Deputy Governor of the state, Benson Abonu, joining top military officers and the Tortive and Chairman, Benue State Traditional Council, Professor James Ayase, to lay wreaths at the Arcade of the Unknown Soldier at the IBB Square, Makurdi, in honor of fallen heroes. Commander, Nigerian Legion, Benue State, Sebastian Adawa, and the Tortive, Professor James Ayase, lauded the armed forces for their commitment to the unity of the nation.
We fought this country, we want unity, we want peace. My advice is that they should remain faithful to the country, Nigeria, protect the constitution of the nation and the territorial integrity of this country.
The Deputy Governor, Benson Abonu, released 23 white pigeons to symbolize the relative peace in Benue State.
And on health matters, Benue State government says it has deployed a team of medical experts to Agatu and Goma local government areas to contain the cholera outbreak that has killed over 10 persons. Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Joseph Ngbea, who disclosed this, warned people in the affected areas against drinking from contaminated water. Blessing Omeche Ebute reports.
Recently, there have been reported cases of cholera outbreak in Abinse, Goma local government area, and some communities in Agatu local government area that killed over 10 persons, with several others hospitalized.
Idiji village has about 9 cases. Abobo village has about 12 cases. Adana has 9 cases. And Ogam village also have about 10 cases. We've lost over 10 people in the hospital.
This prompted the deployment of a medical team to the affected communities to contain the outbreak and stop the mortality rate. Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Joseph Ngbea, who led other health officials on an assessment visit, advised residents of riverine communities to avoid drinking water from contaminated streams and rivers to prevent further outbreak of waterborne diseases.
Because we saw some children were severely dehydrated and there was no doctor. I know management of children is very sensitive, so we asked the teaching hospital to send a pediatrician, which they did. And because of that, they have a corporate social responsibility to ensure that the neighboring primary health cares or even general hospitals are well taken care of.
He further disclosed that drugs worth over 3 million naira and other medical equipment have been deployed to the affected communities. In Makurdi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
With our report on cholera outbreak, we round off our contribution from Makurdi. Jume is back to you.
Thank you so much, Charles. Back in Abuja, Nigeria beats Burkina Faso through to final of WAFU B Under 17 Championship. Details of these and more on our sports updates.
Many thanks for joining us on Sports Update. I'm Badi Adeleye. Let's begin with continental football as the Golden Eaglets of Nigeria on Friday sealed their place in the final of the WAFU B Under 17 Championship in Lome, Togo. Michael Emmanuel's second-half strike was enough for Coach Fatah Amal's boys to secure a 1-0 semi-final win over Burkina Faso. The Eaglets have also qualified for the CAF Under 17 Cup of Nations. Meanwhile, Nigeria Professional Football League leaders Rivers United will be hoping to strengthen their lead atop the table when they play at home to Heartland FC on Sunday in one of the matchday 5 encounters. Champions Plateau United host Adamawa United, while Enyimba and Kano Pillars face off. In a related development, the 2020-2021 season of the Nigeria National League is set to begin on 30th January 2021. The decision was reached at the league's annual general meeting in Abakaliki.
My message to them is very simple. They have to play to the rules. They have a rules and regulation guiding the competition.
And finally, Premier League action returns on NTA this weekend, with Super Eagles defender Shemi Ajayi's West Brom taking their relegation battle to Wolverhampton Wanderers at Molineux this Saturday in a match that will be live on NTA Network from 1 in the afternoon. Other pairings will see Fulham entertain Chelsea later on Saturday, with the big one between champions Liverpool and table toppers Manchester United coming up at Anfield on Sunday. And that concludes Sports Update. I'm Badi Adeleye.
The death has occurred of Chief Emmanuel Temba Allah, a retired commissioner of police, and his wife Eugenia Allah. Burial arrangement as announced by Susan Allah, Assistant Director Administration at the NTA for the family, include wakekeep on Sunday 17th January at their residence number 15 to 17 Commissioner Allah Street off Giado Hospital Road, New GRA, Boko. Their remains leave Boko to Umbakura Bako Seetio Alalene's compound in Kotien, Taka local government area of Benue State on Monday the 18th, while final interment is scheduled for Tuesday the 19th at 8 a.m. Well, that's the news tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I am Jomo Yusuf.